The following episode contains discussions of mental illness, suicide, and death, so just be advised before listening at your own discretion. It is Saturday, the 18th of May, 2024. My name is Pigeon, and this is my Song of the Day. Now, this is an artist who is very interesting. There's just you always learn something new whenever you look him up, and that's for good and bad reasons. Very complicated figure. Today we're going to be talking about Daniel Johnston. Daniel Johnston was a musician from Texas. He was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. He had a very tough life in terms of his mental illness. He, at various times, was institutionalized, went missing, all sorts of things went on with him. He had like a religious obsession with the idea that he would be possessed by demons. He had a big fear of Satan to the extent that he turned down signing with a particular record label because Metallica were on that label, and he believed that Metallica were satanic and would hurt him. So, very much affected by his own delusions brought on by his mental illness. And as such, the music that he wrote and the lyrics that he wrote are very unique to his worldview and his experience. And that's what makes him a very interesting musician, because he could have been anything, but he decided to express how he felt and how he saw the world through poetry and music. And art as well. He did a lot of art, drawings. He tended to design his own album covers. So that just leads to a very interesting varied career of music and lyrics. The song we're going to be talking about today is quite possibly his biggest song. It's been covered by so many different artists, and we'll talk about the context of this song and his discography and the artists who have covered it and all that after we listen to it. But first, of course, we will listen to it now. It's a very short song. It's less than 2 minutes, I think. It's called True Love Will Find You in the End. We're going to listen to it now and come back and talk about it in a sec. The first thing you'll notice about Daniel Johnston's music is that he recorded most of his music, not all, he did do studio albums later, but he recorded most of his music at home on like simple tape recorders and stuff. So it sounds very lo-fi, and that's something you will notice right away in that recording particularly. So this song first appeared on his album Retired Boxer, which he recorded in Austin, Texas, on like a simple like cassette player or whatever. But he later re-recorded this song for his album 1990, which was his first studio album. And I will link that one as well. It's just the same song, but, he's a bit older singing it. The original album's from 84, by the way. He's a bit older singing it. The guitar tone is a lot cleaner. It just sounds, it doesn't have that fuzz to it. But I like the fuzz. I think it helps with the sound. And I vastly prefer his earlier stuff to his later stuff only because of that. He still has some stuff, some new stuff from his studio stuff that's obviously still very good, but the stuff that he re-recorded in the studio, I just prefer the originals generally because the lo-fi sound is just so core to Daniel Johnston to me. But yeah, so I talked about how he had a particularly troubled life. His previous album to this was called Hi, How Are You? The cover says Hi, How Are You? And has a drawing of a frog, Jeremiah the Frog of Innocence, so named because of the Three Dog Night song Joy to the World, which famously starts with Jeremiah was a bullfrog. But Hi, How Are You is like one of his most well-known ones. Famously, there's pictures of Kurt Cobain wearing a Hi, How Are You shirt, which is part of what got Daniel Johnston famous while he was still alive. In fact, on Kurt Cobain's list of albums in his diaries, like list of his favorite albums, Yip Jump Music by Daniel Johnston is on there. So he made that album, Hi, How Are You? And it has this kind of recurring theme of a boxer character. There's a song called Keep Punching Joe, and there's another song called No More Pushing Joe Around. It's this character of Joe the boxer that's supposed to kind of represent Daniel. He did this a lot in his music. He would have these fictional characters that represented himself. Like, he also did a lot of songs about Casper the Friendly Ghost that was also referring to him. So basically, after recording that album, he disappeared because his mother suggested institutionalizing him, and then he only told his parents where he was on Father's Day of that year. For those keeping score at home, I'm reading this off Wikipedia. But basically, he disappeared. He traveled around for a while. He started working at a carnival corn dog stand, and while working at the carnival, he upset someone who was taking too long on a porta potty, so he was punched in the face, which left him badly hurt, and he went to a church for help, and they like leased him an apartment. He began working at McDonald's, and this whole sordid story eventually led to him recording this album playing piano rather than his usual chord organ. And this last song on the album, True Love Will Find You in the End, being the first song he did with an acoustic guitar. And the retired boxer title and artwork is supposed to refer to Joe the Boxer from the previous album. And he's talking about like how he thought he was tough, and then he got knocked for 6, and suddenly he doesn't feel tough anymore. He feels like a retired boxer. We will get into that theme more when I eventually talk about the first song on this album, I Do Anything But Breakdowns for You, Darling. But we'll get there. Anyway, this song, True Love Will Find You in the End. It's such... Will a day go by where I won't say, I love this song because of its simple lyrics? But I mean, that's kind of what made Daniel Johnston's music so good, because like I said, he had this unique worldview and way of expressing himself, but he did it all through very simple language generally. It just was not expressed the way that people would necessarily express it. And this song comes across very simple. It's just, true love will find you in the end. You'll find out just who was your friend. Don't be sad, I know you will, but don't give up until true love will find you in the end. This is a promise with a catch. Only if you're looking can it find you. Because true love is searching too, but how can it recognize you unless you step out into the light, the light? Don't be sad, I know you will, but don't give up until true love will find you in the end. You can take this in a few ways. You can take it as a gentle breakup, saying like, we're not working out, but I know that you will find true love. You know, you can take it as reassuring someone else who has just been broken up with or has just broken up with their partner. It's like, no, don't worry, you will find someone. You are not loveless. True love will find you in the end, you know. But to me, it makes me think, knowing Daniel Johnston's personal struggles, it strikes me as him singing to himself, especially since this is the last track on Retired Boxer. It feels like he's kind of reassuring himself. It's like he left himself a note for later. Like he left he was drunk and he left himself a voicemail for when he's sober. You know what I mean? True love will find you in the end. You'll find out just who was your friend. He's like letting himself know you'll make it through this, you know. Now, I don't think I mentioned it up top. Daniel Johnston did pass in 2019 of a suspected heart attack. Apart from the mental health struggles, I mean, he had various physical health struggles. He smoked like a fucking chimney and all sorts of stuff. He gained a lot of weight in his later years. But if you ever look at any upload of this song, or just anything about Daniel Johnston, you'll always see comments of people saying... You'll always find comments of people saying, I hope true love found you in the end. I didn't expect to get so emotional during this one. Woof. I mean, I think it's a sad thing to think about with regards to his life because, of course, you know, he died relatively young. I think he was 56 when he died. And he died of a heart attack, which isn't like a natural way to go, so to speak. I mean, it's a natural way to go, but it's not a natural way to go. It's still a premature way to go. Let's put it that way. But this is going to sound like such a... I hope I can express this correctly. He didn't end up taking his own life. He didn't end up falling victim to some delusion that caused him to be killed. He died of a heart attack. And that's not the best way to go. But he didn't succumb to his problems in the end. And I think you can kind of argue that that's sort of a true love will find you in the end moment. I don't know if I'm just kind of talking shit at this point, but I think it's something to think about, certainly. But yeah, man, this song has helped me out in some tough times because it's just simple and reassuring. And it ends with a lovely little cut to him shaking Jingle Bells saying Merry Christmas, which is so strange. I suppose this, released around Christmas, so I guess that makes sense. But it's so strange listening to this out of context and having that there. It is on my Christmas playlist for that, though. In terms of its legacy, I mean, like I said, a lot of people covered it, including like Beck, Headless Heroes, Wilco. So many people. There's a great album called The Late Great Daniel Johnston, which was made while he was still alive, in fact. But it's a double album where the first CD is covers of Daniel Johnston songs and the second side is the originals by Daniel Johnston. I recommend if you know his music. But if you don't know his music, I recommend listening to How Are You and then Retired Boxer. Both great albums. Yeah, I mean, it's a very simple song. There's not much to say about the actual song itself. I just love the bareness of it and the message behind it and the context in his life. The idea that it's him talking to himself, telling himself to hold on just another while. And I mean, this is from the 80s. He survived quite a bit longer than that, so it worked. I feel like if I open my mouth again, I'm gonna start crying. Yeah, I mean that's just the message to take away here. True love will find you in the end, but only if you're looking can it find you. Hang in there, you know. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I will definitely be talking more about Daniel in the future. Definitely trying to fight back tears every time. Oh, also, if you want to get really sad, but if you want to learn more about his life, there's a documentary called The Devil and Daniel Johnston. It's very good. It's very sad. So obviously don't watch it if you're not in the right headspace. But if you want to learn more, definitely watch that. That's pretty much it for today. I will talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.
In fact, on Kurt Cobain's list of albums in his diaries, like list of his favorite albums, Yip Jump Music by Yip Jump Music by Daniel Johnston is on there. I don't know why Daniel Johnston is such a hard thing for me to say. It just I want to slur through it is the problem. Anyway, I just want to share that message with you too. That true love will find you in the end. Someone kill that fucking motorcycle. True love will not find you in the end, my friend. Jesus Christ. Hardest fart in the world.